As part of my series on foundation, today's tip is all about finding the right shade for you. But first I need you to do something. So when you have a little bit of free time, maybe at the weekend, make sure your skin is completely clean, so all your makeup's been removed, and pull your hair back. And then have a really good look in the mirror in daylight. And what you're looking for is the different tones within your face, within your neck, how your neck compares to your chest, your shoulders, even your hands, all exposed skin. And what you're looking at is a real overview of all the tones that you have within your skin. This will really help with the next stage of looking to find the right foundation. Now, to show you what I mean, I'm just going to go and take off my makeup and pull my hair back, and I'll demonstrate on myself. The first thing I'll say is that everyone is different. I've made up thousands and thousands of women throughout my career of all different skin tones, skin types, ages, and everyone from models and to Hollywood royalty to actual royalty to girls on the street. And the one thing I have learned is that no two faces are the same. So I think it's very, very important to really assess your skin colour and your skin tones yourself in daylight. I'm going to demonstrate this on myself, and hopefully by showing you what I would see in the mirror and what I think, then you'll be able to adapt this for yourself. So start by looking in the mirror. I suggest you wear a towel, because then you get to see your shoulders and more of your body skin. I know that my shoulders tend to be the same colour as my chest area, because I've done this before. And then just have a really, really good look at the difference in tones between your neck, your chest, maybe your arms, your hands, your face, different areas within your face, and also look at the undertones within those areas. Now, skin's made up of reds, blues, yellows, greens, purples, black, whites, all of these colours together. If you ever watch a painter, an oil painter, paint flesh, paint skin in a picture, you'll see that to get skin tones of whether they're dark or fair, they're mixing together all of those colours to get a realistic skin tone. So skin isn't just pink or yellow or red or blue. It's a mixture of everything, and it's really the percentage of the different colours. Some are more dominant, so some people naturally have more yellow in their skin, a very high percentage of the yellows and the warm yellows and greeny tones, and other people naturally have a higher percentage of the reds and purples and blues, the cooler tones in their skin. And it's very obvious when you look in the mirror. I mean, you might be lucky and be pretty neutral and have this very neutral, even skin tone, and then it's easy. So for me, when I look in the mirror in daylight, I see that my entire face tends to be a shade or two darker than my neck and my body, particularly in certain areas where there's pigmentation. I also notice that I have some redness in my skin around the nose, around the chin area, and I can get, different weather and things, times of year, can get quite a lot of pinky colours in my skin, in my facial skin. I don't have any of that redness in my neck, my chest, or my body at all. So for that reason, I would never, for example, choose a foundation that had pink undertones. Although they might blend in beautifully with certain areas of my face, when I'd finished doing my face, it would look like two different people. It would look a bit like that game you play when you're a child where you have a different head on a different body. Totally strange, unnatural, and bizarre. So one of the key things is finding some common ground between the face and the body and really bringing those two together so it looks like one person. With that in mind, I find a little self-knowledge goes a long way. So for me, I can see that around my chin and my nose, I have a little bit of pigmentation. And this means that this area of my face is a lot darker than the other areas of my face. I also have a little bit here and here. Now, if I didn't have self-knowledge and I was to go in to buy a foundation and said, okay, I want a neutral foundation, not too red, that matches my skin, I might go for this colour. And you can see how well this colour blends in with my chin and these darker areas of my face. Now, if I was just to look at that, I would think, yeah, that's the perfect foundation for me. However, if I was then to continue and apply this over the rest of my face, so So that's the foundation that matched up perfectly to my chin when it's applied all over my face. And you can see immediately that it looks dreadful, like an Oompa Loompa. My hand is completely the wrong shade. It looks strange. My neck is a different colour. My body, it looks very, very unnatural. So I really need to be thinking about not matching up to small areas where there is pigmentation or redness or anything like that. So I think I need to take this off ASAP because it looks dreadful. Okay, so back to normal again. So when you are testing a new foundation, I find that a good place to test, and I often do this when I work with celebrities because sometimes I've never met them before and then they'll be like, okay, you've got 45 minutes to do the makeup. So I will look at the back of the jawline and onto the side of the neck. I find this to be a good place to test in the majority of people, not everyone, there's always exceptions, believe me, but it is a good place, I find, because often this side of the neck will have a lot of the undertones of the body, not too far back because it can get really dark, but kind of here where there's sort of this bit of the jaw and going onto the neck, sort of there, because you get a lot of the undertones from the body, from the neck, but also this area of the face. On girls that have a lot of redness in their skin, often they'll have sort of a red patch that goes down from the cheek onto the jaw, and it's normally in the centre. So the area behind that is often more neutral. Likewise with pigmentation. Sometimes you get pigmentation going onto the jaw or onto the neck, whatever, but you'll have an area at the back there where it becomes sort of, again, more neutral. There are obviously exceptions, so people that have acne along the jawline will find that that's not the most neutral area, but they might still want to use the sides of the neck and maybe another more neutral area of the face. And also with very, very dark skins, you often find that the neck can be darker and around the edges of the face can be darker, so you still want to use something that's going to tone in face and body, so neck and chest and face, but at the same time in those sorts of situations you probably would want to, if you're much lighter around the center of your face, with dark skin tones often use a separate maybe lighter shade around the center, or just use highlighter and contour, so you're concealing with a lighter colour that will bring the shape to the face, but at the same time you're still having this fluidity between face and body. So I look at this area and I often find that that is a great starting point for sort of seeing the neck, seeing the face. So if I was to choose, I'll show you the right colour. This is a colour that I would use on my skin. I've gone a bit red now with all this rubbing. You can see how that is a colour that goes really well in to my neck and my face. So that would feel like a great colour for me. If I was to put that colour on my chin, you'd probably think, oh my god, it's so pale, but I would need that to then tie everything in. Otherwise, if I lighten this up, likewise I can't go too light, because if I went as light as this bit here right under my chin, then my pigmentation will look ashy, and we don't want that. If you go to the point where it becomes ashy, then it's too pale. And if you find that that's what happens, what you might have to do actually is go a little bit warmer and then take it down onto your neck. Some people just have to do that. But with this colour, I'm kind of bringing together, if you like, my neck, my chin, and all of the areas. And ideally, you don't want to have to be making up your neck every day. I mean, maybe for a night out when you want to look perfect, or if you're being photographed or something. But on a day-to-day basis, if you've got a foundation that blends in well with your neck, then you're not having to kind of, you know, do all the extra work. And you really want that kind of seamless feel where it's really blending in. So you can see already, although this looked a little bit too pale on my chin, it's starting to blend in well. And when you're looking at my face, hopefully, and my neck together, you start to feel this uniformity coming in. And as I say, my body's the same, and now my hands as well will look similar. Again, on the sides of my forehead where I do have pigmentation from a little bit of sun damage, it's going to look a little bit pale, but in the centre here, it should match perfectly. Now, obviously I haven't done any concealing yet, but I think that this has done what foundation should do. It's given me a nice even skin tone. It's given me uniformity so that whether a hand comes in or you see my neck or my chest, it feels like it's all kind of tying in. But at the same time, it hasn't completely obliterated all of my skin texture and any colours within my skin. I don't look like a sort of shop mannequin. So it still has that feeling of being me, but it has that uniformity, which for me is what foundation's job is. And I really think doing this kind of assessment is so important, because what it'll do is it'll arm you with self-knowledge. And if you have that awareness and that self-knowledge, you're able to be a much savvier shopper. Either when you go shopping for foundation yourself or when you go into a department store, you're able to say to the consultant, okay, I'm looking for a foundation, but I must tell you, my neck is a lot darker than my face, or, you know, I have a lot of redness here, whereas this area is more neutral. Or if you have that knowledge, you're more likely to get exactly the right shade for you. And I know that I grew up in a house with what we called a foundation graveyard, because my mother used to buy so many foundations that they always used to go into this one drawer in the kitchen, and they were all the ones that were just not quite the right shade. So if you want to avoid the foundation graveyard, get looking and get analysing and learn about your skin and get that self-knowledge. It will really help, I promise you. So I hope that was helpful, and do check out the other foundation videos that I'm doing, because all together they will hopefully really help you to get exactly the right foundation for you. See you soon.